We're in Algebra 1. We are on lesson 3-6. I am wearing my hat backwards because it is falling apart. Today is November 30th, which means it is Mr. Sindell's birthday. Yeah, that's right. All right, so let's talk about the difference between or and. We already talked about our warm-up at the very beginning of class. That's the wrong warm-up. That's geometry's warm-up. The difference between or and, we kind of understand the logic behind it. Let's have a formal definition. If I say or, it has to meet one condition. That's it. If you have like 5 conditions and there's an or in between each of those, as long as one of those conditions has been met, you win. You've got it. It only needs to meet one condition and needs to meet all conditions. Each and every condition. Or is only one and is all. And since we're going to be talking about only 2 things at a time for today, and means both, or means just one. Okay, so let's do another example very similar to the warm-up. Jordan will be happy if Jordan eats a sandwich or drinks juice. So Jordan decides to drink juice but does not eat a sandwich. Give me a thumbs up if Jordan is happy, a thumbs down if Jordan is not happy. I'm going to read that again. Jordan will be happy if I don't know if it's he or she, if Jordan eats a sandwich or drinks juice. Jordan drinks juice, but does not eat a sandwich. Happy, thumbs up. Unhappy, thumbs down. You have to vote for one or the other. I'm getting everyone giving me a thumbs up, and you are correct. Jordan is happy because one of those conditions has been met. Jordan is drinking juice, and that was one of the conditions. Again, since we had the or here, let's box the or in our notes. Since it was an or, we only needed to meet one condition. One of those conditions was met, so yes. The answer here is yes, Jordan is happy. So that's kind of a real-world application of or and. We're going to go strictly to Algebra 1's definition of or and. All right, here's my second example. This one, it'll help to graph. X is greater than 2 and X is greater than or equal to 5. What values can X be? Okay, let's go ahead and graph each of these. X is greater than 2. So this is where you do your quiet raised hand. Is it going to be an open point or a closed point? Quiet raised hand. Only Cohen knows, Sergio knows. Open point or a closed point for a greater than symbol. Open or closed. There's more hands, more hands. Ah, see, this is what happens. I'm going to try wearing it right side up. Cohen, go for it.
All right, open circle.
It is an open circle, and I'm going to put that right above 2. And it's greater than, which means it's going which direction? Shout it out. Everyone shout it out.
Right.
Going to the right, yeah. So it's greater than, going to the right. Okay, then I have X is greater than or equal to 5. So is that a closed point or an open point? Quiet raised hand. Sergio?
No.
Closed point at 5. And it's greater than, so again, it's going to the right. All right, so technically what's happening here, I mean, this is our unofficial graph, or I guess it's official graph. What's happening with this line, even though it's an arrow that's really short, this arrow is technically going all the way over here. This arrow is also going all the way over here. They go forever and ever. We drew them short, but you have to know in your mind, they go forever and ever. We can nod our heads yes. I can nod my head if I hold my hat. Nod your heads yes. You understand that it goes forever and ever. All right, so let's decide, can I choose a point right here, 3.5? If I decide to choose this point right here, is it satisfied by both this one and this one? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Does this point, 3.5, satisfy this inequality and this inequality? I'm seeing 1 thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, bunch of thumbs down, some people not voting. So here's the answer. The answer is no. And here's why. It has to satisfy both of these. If I look at 3.5, is 3.5 greater than or equal to 5?
No.
No. It did not satisfy this condition and needs to satisfy all conditions. And it did not satisfy all conditions. Therefore, this is not an answer. Therefore, this is not an answer. Therefore, this is not an answer. None of these things are answers. The only thing that's an answer is 5 or bigger. Because 5 or bigger satisfies this inequality and this inequality. Here's the answer. The answer is X has to be greater than or equal to 5. The answer, and if you want to write it above the number line again, those two combine to form this one. Just this green one. These two blue combine to form this green graph. I'm going to pause so that you can digest because that is a pretty deep concept. When I say and, it's where two lines overlap. Two lines overlap right here, right here, right here, and first, right there. Whenever I'm looking for and, I'm looking for where two lines overlap. We'll make that more formal in a sec. Okay, I've changed it to or. X is less than 7 or X is greater than 3. What values can X be? Okay, so again, quiet raised hand. Less than is what? Is it open or closed point, Andres?
Open.
It's an open point at 7. Open point at 7. And I have a greater than, which is another open point at 3. If it's less than 7, that means the 7 open point goes to the left. And if it's a greater than 3, this 3 goes to the right. We have graphed both of these on the same line. But now I need to take into consideration the or. Or means any one of these conditions. And remember, these lines go on and on forever. This line technically goes on and on forever this way. This line goes on and on forever this way. All right, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Everyone's going to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If I choose the point 2, does that satisfy X is less than 7 or X is greater than 3? Thumbs up or thumbs down. If I choose 2, does it satisfy this inequality or this inequality? Remember, or means it has to satisfy just one of them. I see most people giving me a thumbs up. About a third of us haven't voted yet, but the answer is yes. Because look, there's a line right there. I'm touching one line. If I choose 8, I'm touching one line. That's also an answer. If I choose 5, got a little bit of lag. If I choose 5, it's touching at least one line. In fact, this is touching 2 lines, so it's definitely correct. It's both of them, which means what values can X be? It can be any of them. I can choose 100. 100 is definitely bigger than 3. I can choose negative 1,000 because negative 1,000 is definitely less than 7. The answer for this one is all real numbers. All right, I want you to take 10 seconds to digest that math. That was a huge concept that I just unloaded on you. To satisfy this one or this one, it was all of them. Think back. Why was that the case? I want you to just think by yourself. 10 seconds. All right, let's move on. I want to look at graphically what happens for each of these 4 possibilities. By the way, these are really the only 4 possibilities that you'll ever have. I mean, you can switch this one for a closed point or this one for an open point. They can be maybe the same point, but generally speaking, these are the only 4 situations that you have, and I copy and pasted them down here. So if I do this one this one or this one, everything here's or, this one or this one, what is the answer? This one or this one. And the way that you're going to answer is you're going to say there's an open or closed point at such and such value, and the arrow goes to such and such direction. All right. Anyone want to take a shot at this one? First one is the hardest. I'll do it if no one can. Yeah, go for it, Andres.
Do we just give the answer?
Sure, go for it.
Could it be 0?
0 is one of the answers, yeah. Is 1 one of the answers? Yeah. Is 2 one of the answers? Remember, we're in or. Or means this one or this one. What do we think? Is 2 included in our answer? I see lots of people nodding their heads yes, and you guys are correct. 2 is in there. 3 is in there. 4 is also in there because that's a closed point, which means technically our answer here is a closed point here at 4 and an arrow going to the left. That is the answer. When I combine this less than 1 and this less than or equal to 4, it turns into less than or equal to 4. I need just to pause and really think about this. This whole table is the most important thing I can do today. If I could put 1,000 red stars around this table, I would do that. This is super important. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and you should copy this down too. This whole table, put a giant red star. These are all possible cases. Really think hard about this table. Again, another way of seeing this is these arrows go on and on forever. That arrow goes on and on forever. This arrow also goes on and on forever. Or is just talking about where it meets one condition or where there's one line. There's one line there, there's one line there, there's one line there, there's one line there. So all of these answers have one line. All right, let's look at another one. Oops. Control-Shift-C. All right, so this one, or this one, or this one. Where is there one line? This one is probably one of the hardest ones that you can be asked. Oh, I should have tried participation cards today. I want to try to get someone that hasn't participated, if possible. But if not, that's okay. Sergio, go for it.
One or less and 4 and more.
Yeah. So is it going to be an open point or a closed point at 1? Open, and it goes to the left, you said. And then open or closed point at 4? Closed point at 4, and it goes to the right. That's the answer. You have it correct. Nothing magical happens with an or on this one. It's the same answer because it's this one or this one, so you can satisfy both of those. Nothing changes with the graph. Welcome, welcome. Andres, yeah?
Wait, can you, it could be one line, could start at 5 and then go to the left. All the way to 0.
Start at 5 and go to the left?
Yeah.
The problem with starting at 5 and going to the left is nothing goes to the left. Like this 3 will never be hit. You're saying if it goes to the left that this 3 will be an answer, but you can see from this graph, this arrow goes in the wrong direction. So this 3 will never be in the answer set. Yeah, but that's a good question. All right, let's try another one. This is very similar to the first problem. If this was A, yeah, I think there's one right by your spot. If this was A, and this is B, and this is C, C is very similar to A. Very, very similar. Anyone want to take a shot at it? If I'm doing OR, and these two are both going the same direction, what's the answer? Yeah, Monse, go for it. Close point at 1 and an arrow going to the right. Like that? You are so, so close. There's a tiny error. See if you can find it. And if not, I think someone else might be able to. It's an open point. Yes, good catch, Monse. It's an open point at 1, and it goes to the right. Yeah, that's the answer. Because technically, this line goes on and on forever this way, and this one is already, this inequality right here is already included in the fact that we have to be bigger than 1. So that's our answer. Good job, Monse. I need to be keeping track of this on Classcraft. I'm going to pause after this one to go and log stuff on Classcraft. Okay, so I'm going to call this one D. What is the answer to D? And it's very, very similar to the problem that we did up here in example 3. I'm going to call on someone new because we have done this one before. So sorry, Sergio, I see your hand, but I'm not going to call on you. What is the answer? Yeah, Julian, go for it. All real numbers, everything. So you can represent that just by saying all real numbers. And graphically, it just means that you can draw a point anywhere that you want. You can draw a point right here at 3, it doesn't matter. Or you don't even have to have a point. You can just say an arrow that goes to the left, arrow that goes to the, or arrow left and arrow right. It's everything. Graphical and word, perfect. It's all real numbers. All right, let's think about the AND version of the first one. I'm gonna freeze the screen so I can start logging stuff on Classcraft. Let's think about the AND version. All right, help me to keep track of the participation here. So I think Sergio, how many times have you participated? Twice?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? I'm gonna give you 3. Andres, how many times?
5. I think 2 or 3 also.
All right, I'll give you the 3. Monse got 1. Julian got 1. Who else am I missing?
Julian.
Yeah, I got Julian. Anyone else? All right. I'm ready to go to keep recording this thing. All right, so this one is an and. So if it's and, then I'm looking for where two lines overlap. So if I extend both of these lines, extending lines is the best way to solve these. If I extend this line and extend this line, where do two lines overlap? Sergio's already ready to go. Cohen's ready to go. Where do two lines overlap? Go for it, Cohen. One. Open or closed?
Closed.
Closed. And which direction?
Left.
Left. You're correct. Oh, sorry. Did you say closed and I wrote open?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I should have written this, but I wrote the correct answer instead. Sorry. It is supposed to be open. You're supposed to copy this sign. And this is kind of a key point, and it's going to be a little bit confusing for us, but just try to stay with it. So this is not a closed point because this point at 1, it's an open circle because it's not equal to 1. That means it's not overlapping yet until just to the left of 1. So it still has to be an open point because there's still no overlap quite yet. You're looking for the overlap. Okay. Let's undo those. Make our open point at 1. Perfect. Cohen gets his XP. Thank you for participating. All right. Next one. This one and this one. Where do these two overlap? Again, I can extend these lines as much as you want. They go all the way to the left, all the way to the left. Where do these overlap? And Gunnar, you don't need to be listening to music during the lesson. Where do these overlap? Julian Hood, Eder Hood, Andres Hood. Where do these overlap? Fernando Hood. Sergio keeps participating over and over again. I'm not going to call on you. Sorry, Sergio. Where do they overlap? It's a trick question. I'll give you that much. Jose, go for it. They don't. The answer is no solutions. So this is the answer. You don't have anything in your graph. The answer is no solutions. There's nothing on our graph. They don't overlap at all. They go off in different directions. So if you have something that looks like this, something that looks like this, with an and, the answer is no solutions. All right, let's try our next one. I'm going to go ahead and extend these lines. Extend this line, extend this line. Where is their overlap? Tell me how to graph it. I'm going to call on someone new. Hopefully I can call on someone new. And if not, I can cold call on someone. So far, I have not heard from Josie, Jessica, Jennifer, Fernando, or Eder, or Gunnar. One of you needs to participate. Where is their overlap? Andres, head down. Gunnar.
At 4.
At 4, I agree. So is it an open or closed point? Closed point, which direction?
Right.
To the right, you're correct. There's our answer. Thank you, Gunnar. All right, and this one is pretty cool too. This is something that we have never seen before, but I think that we can figure it out. I'll open this up to anyone. It doesn't have to be a new person. Where is their overlap? If I extend these lines forever and ever, so this line goes forever and ever this way, this line goes forever and ever this way. Maybe I can draw them slightly apart so you can see where there's two lines. Where is their overlap? Only 3 people are ready to participate. 4 people. Jose.
4.
Which type of point at 4?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. Okay, what type of point at 1?
Open.
Open point at 1. What type of point at 4?
Closed.
Closed. And where do I draw my line?
Closed to the left and the open to the right.
So like this? Yeah, there it is. And there's no arrow this time. The arrow indicates that it goes forever and ever, but this one doesn't go forever and ever in either direction. It's just a flat line. No arrow. And there's your correct answer. Thank you, Jose. This table represents all possibilities for or and when you're working on the homework tonight. And here's your shortcut. If you don't want to memorize this whole table, and I don't want you to memorize the whole table, but it's a good reference, or it's just asking for where one line is. And is where two lines are. You can kind of think of this one as the overlap. If you just memorize these two rules, you have the rule to complete this whole table by yourself. All right, backside. What time do we get out of here? It's a Friday schedule. Go away, screenshot. We get out of here at 37, which means we have 11 more minutes. And we have time to finish this and do Khan Academy, I think. Let's keep going. All right, so some new notation. You might have seen this before, you might not have. So if I want to say between two numbers, this is how I say it. The one on the left, I always put on the left. The one on the right, I always put on the right. Go ahead and write those down, 1 and 4. The variable, you want to say that the x values, remember, this line here represents all x solutions, which means x solutions live between 1 and 4. But then we need to say, okay, is it an open point or a closed point? To say an open point, we need to say that this x right here, this line right here exists greater than that point. This x is greater than that 1 point or equal to. So this x needs to be greater than or equal to. It's a little bit weird because I read this as a less than or equal to, but if I'm from the perspective of x, this x is bigger. This is big, this is small. This x needs to be bigger than, therefore this symbol is a less than, because 1 is less than the bigger. Hopefully that's making sense because that's going to be a little bit confusing. And then this sign right here is going to be a less than. There's our final answer. Bless you, bless you. As a hint, I will tell you this always. These symbols will always look like this. They will never switch around. You'll never have something that looks like this or like this. They will always be less thans over and over and over again. One of them might be an equal to, one of them might not be, but they will always, always be less than. Write that down. Always, always less than for this one. Whenever you have a gap, then you just write two of them with an or. So this one I say it's less than or equal to 1. So x is less than or equal to 1. Or x is greater than 4. If there's a gap, you need an or. If it's an interval like this, if it's just between two numbers, you need this cool new notation. It's a condensed way of saying two things. It's always going to be a less than. I'm going to say that so many times because people will mess it up. Everyone last year messed it up. I'm going to try to make sure no one does this year. I shouldn't say everyone, but most people did. Example 4. This is an actual problem from Khan Academy, but I switched the numbers. So this is what it looks like. Solve for x. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this one. You guys are going to shout at me. I'm just going to give everyone participation points rapid fire. Tell me what to do both sides. Shout it out. Louder.
Subtract 3.
Subtract 3 from both sides. Someone else. What do you get?
6.
6
2x.
and 2x. And what symbol?
Greater.
Greater than or equal to. What do I do next? Someone new. Shout them out. You don't need to raise your hand.
Divided by 2.
Divide by 2 on both sides. Someone new. What do I get when I divide by 2 on both sides? Shout it out. 3 on that side. I still have my greater than or equal to. What do I have on my left side? X. Open or close point? Close point at 3. What direction? Shout it out. Right. You guys are killing this. Good job. Okay. Let's copy all of that down. Make sure we got that. All right. Again, rapid fire. Tell me what to do to both sides. Shout it out. Subtract 7 from both sides. Someone new. What do I get?
10.
10 on the right. What symbol?
Right. Greater than
And
2x.
2x. Perfect. What do I do to both sides? Divide by 2. Divide by 2. What do I get on the left-hand side?
5. I mean x and then 5.
X and then 5 and then greater than. Write that down. If I have a greater than, is it an open or is it a closed point? Open point at 5. What direction do I go?
Right.
To the... Ooh, is it right or left? No, it's not correct. Greater than.
The right.
To the right. There it is. All right. And then we always have to take into consideration this magical statement. Is it an or is it an and? Which of these table values am I going to be doing? It's an or. So what is my answer? If I were to write in red what my answer is above this, or means where there's just one line, at least one line.
Or.
So it's an or, I agree. So what is my solution? A closed point or an open point where? Well, is 4 a solution? You can give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Is 4 a solution? If it's an or, remember, or means you have to have at least one line. It is a solution because I'm hitting the line at least one point. This is also a solution. I'm hitting the line at least one point. 3 is also a solution. There's a closed point at 3. That means that my answer is what? Someone help me. Tell me what to do. Yeah, go for it.
3 or more.
3 or more. Here's my solution. I'll do it. Maybe I can do it on the bottom. It's a closed point at 3 and it goes to the right. There's my solution. I combine both the 2 on the top to make the one on the right, or the one on the bottom. And then I'm going to write my full answer. My full answer is x is something 3. Is it greater than or equal to? Shout it out. Greater than or equal to?
Greater than or equal to.
There it is. Greater than or equal to. There's our final answer. Box it. I know I'm going fast. It's a Friday. It's a minimum day. This is the final answer. We had this problem. We apply our logic to it. We get this answer out. The graph is merely a tool to help you find the answer. You don't always need to do the graph. In fact, many schools teach you how to do this without a graph. I think the graph is incredibly useful, though. Let's try to do this again. Example 5. What am I going to do to both sides? I need new people. I've been hearing from the same people over and over. New people. What do I do to both sides? Plus 7 on both sides, plus 7 on both sides. That means those 7s cancel out, and I have what on the left-hand side?
X.
4x. What symbol?
Greater than 24.
All right, someone new. What do I do next?
Divide both sides by 4.
Yes, I like how multiple people do it. That's even better. What do I have on the left-hand side?
X.
What symbol?
Greater than
What number?
6.
6. Let's graph it. Is it an open or closed point at 6?
Open.
Ooh, open.
It's open.
It's open.
It is open. Okay. What direction? Right or left?
Right.
There it is. We just graphed this one. Let's go ahead and graph the next one. I'm going to go like this. Yeah. All right. What do I do to both sides? Plus 20 plus 20. After I add 20 to both sides, what do I have on the left-hand side? What symbol do I have?
Less than
What number do I have on the right-hand side?
15.
Perfect. And finally from there, what do I do to both sides? Divide by 5, divide by 5. What do I have on the left-hand side? What symbol do I have?
Less than
What number do I have?
3.
Is x less than 3? Is this less than an open or a closed point?
It's an open to
Open point at 3. What direction am I going, left or right?
left.
Okay, I am dealing with or yet again. It didn't change, so it's an or still, just like last time. So if it's an or, what's my answer? I hear no solution. Just shout them out.
3 or less than 6 or more.
Yeah, it's the same answer, and that's actually the correct one. So you were thinking of and, which would have been correct, but we switched it to or we kept it with or. So or just means this is the same thing. Here's how you write this. Remember, if you have a gap, this is what we have. We have a gap. We write it like this. We have a gap, so we're going to say x is less than 3. You guys help me do the rest. I just wrote the left-hand part. I need a middle part, and I need the right-hand part. Oh, why does it do that? Am I going to be writing or an and here? And then what is the final answer over here on the right? X is something, something, something.
X is greater than 6.
X is greater than 6. Box that whole answer. That is your entire answer right there. I'm going to give everyone 200 XP for being on it. Just a blanket XP. Good job, guys. That concludes the notes. Go ahead and write your summaries now. That means that Andres just leveled up. Good job, Andres.